If you're running a local service business, you already know that Google's local service ads can be an absolute goldmine for leads. But, and it's a big but, getting the right kind of leads, the really profitable ones, that can feel like a total grind. Well, today, we're going to pull back the curtain on a really powerful automated strategy that's designed to flip that whole game on its head. So yeah, let's dive right in. To really get a grip on how to win with local services ads, or LSAs, we have to kind of rewire how we think about Google in the first place. So let's start with this question. What if you stop seeing Google as just a search engine and start seeing it as a really, really high-stakes matchmaker? Because honestly, that's pretty much what's happening. Google is out there playing this massive matchmaking game. It's connecting homeowners with a problem to contractors like you who have the solution. And you gotta believe the success of their entire system hinges on how good those matches turn out to be.
And this gets to a super important point. Google has two customers it has to keep happy. There's you, the business owner, who's paying for those leads. And then there's the consumer, who puts their trust in Google to find somebody reliable, right? If either one of you has a bad experience with the match, Google's own reputation takes a hit. The whole system is built to make sure these pairings work out.
You can almost think of this journey like a relationship. A new lead popping up, that's just the introduction. Scheduling an appointment, that's like the first date. The job itself is the relationship phase. But the ultimate goal, the big signal that tells Google, hey, I nailed it, I made a perfect match, that's what we're calling the wedding, a finished job that ends with a glowing 5-star review.
Okay, so if that's the game, how do you actually play to win? Well, the secret isn't just about throwing more money at it. It's about actively training Google's algorithm to become a better matchmaker specifically for you. And to do that, you have to understand how it thinks.
So Google's algorithm is looking at a bunch of key things to decide who gets that top spot. Your reviews, how fast you respond, those are huge. You know this. But the one we're really going to zero in on today is the most active signal you can possibly send, lead disposition. This is literally you telling Google on a case-by-case basis whether the match it sent you was good or bad.
Now, this process actually has a fancy name in the world of machine learning. It's called supervised learning. But don't let the name intimidate you. The concept is simple. Every single time you mark a lead as booked, or, more importantly, archived in your dashboard, you are teaching the algorithm. You're giving it live feedback, training it to learn what you like, whether you realize you're doing it or not.
And here's what's so incredibly powerful about this. Telling Google what you don't want is just as important as telling it what you do want. When you archive a lead for a low-value job, let's say it's a simple repair, but you really want those full system installations, you are sending a direct signal to the algorithm that says, hey, stop sending me leads like this. And over time, it actually listens. It learns. So doing this by hand for every single lead, it's tedious, it's slow, people forget, it's just not consistent. And that is where a new generation of tools is stepping in. So let's take a look inside one of these automation engines. This one's called LCG 3.0 to see how it works.
You see, the biggest hurdle to automating this whole feedback loop has always been a technical one. Data from Google LSA, yeah, that flows into your CRM just fine. But getting that data, like whether a lead was booked or not, to flow back from your CRM to Google, historically, that's been a one-way street.
So how do these new systems get around that? I mean, what's the secret sauce that finally makes this two-way communication possible?
And here it is. The key isn't some clever software hack that anybody can build. It's all about privileged partner-level API access that Google only gives to a handful of select partners. This restricted access is basically the key that unlocks the door, and it's what allows a system like LCG 3.0 to instantly push those status updates from your CRM straight back to Google, completing the feedback loop.
So, with that technical problem finally solved, it makes a whole new kind of strategy possible. You can now shift your entire goal away from just getting the highest volume of leads to attracting the highest value.
Just think about it for a second. Right now, your ad spend probably gets you a pretty random mix of leads, right? You get some of those big, high-value jobs mixed in with a ton of the low-value quick repairs. Well, with an automated training strategy, the whole point is for the system to learn how to filter that flow for you, so it starts delivering a much higher concentration of the really profitable jobs you actually want to be doing.
Now, it's really important to get this straight. This isn't some simple targeting feature where you can just check a box that says, only send me jobs over $10,000. It's way more sophisticated than that. It's a strategy of indirect influence. By using automation to instantly and consistently archive every single one of those low-value leads, you are, over time, training the algorithm to start sending you more of the big ones.
Okay,
This all sounds great in theory, but it all comes down to the one question that every business owner on the planet asks: what's the ROI? Does this stuff actually pay off?
To really wrap our heads around the ROI, we first have to understand what's at stake. In industries like roofing or HVAC, the opportunity cost of just one missed lead is massive. Using market data, a pretty conservative estimate for the net profit on a single high-value job is about $3,600. That's the real cost every time a great lead goes to your competitor instead of you.
So let's just compare the cost. On one side, you have an automation system that might start around $750 a month. On the other, the fully loaded cost of an in-house receptionist to try and do all this manually is over $3,000. The automation is working 168 hours a week. That's 24/7. A person, maybe 40. And the system's reliability? It's 100%. I mean, when you look at it like that, you're getting 4 times the coverage at less than a quarter of the cost.
And this, right here, is where it hits the bottom line. Let's just say the system helps you capture one extra high-value job a month. Just one. That's $3,600 in gross profit. You subtract the $750 cost, and you're left with a net profit gain of over $2,800. What if it gets you 2 extra jobs? That's almost $6,500 in pure profit every single month. The break-even on this is incredibly low.
But of course, there are always trade-offs, right? This strategy demands that you have the discipline to say no to some of that smaller, short-term revenue so you can train the algorithm for the bigger prizes down the road. And yeah, your advantage is tied to that provider's special API access. But the rewards? We're talking a sustainable competitive edge, higher profits, and a way more efficient sales process.
So when you boil it all down, this isn't about finding some secret loophole in Google's code. It's about taking the known best practices, the very things Google wants you to be doing anyway, and just executing them with a level of speed and consistency that's frankly superhuman.
And that really brings us to a final, pretty provocative thought. In a world where these powerful algorithms are the gatekeepers to our most valuable customers, is embracing this level of sophisticated automation no longer just an advantage, but maybe the new essential cost of doing business?